Israel-Iran News Now Gaza dead toll tops 34,000 as Israel and Iran missile strikes draw attention. On Saturday, Israel's attack on Gaza killed over 34,000 people, mostly women and children, including at least 6 children murdered in a midnight airstrike on a Rafah residence. As hopes of a truce fade and global attention shifts to Iran and Israel's hazardous missile and drone strikes, the newest tragic milestone occurs. The Hamas-run Gaza government's health authorities report around 77,000 injuries. The statistics do not include tens of thousands of bodies buried in bombed-out homes, shops, shelters, and other buildings. Israel's military claims to have killed over 13,000 Hamas fighters. Israel wants to launch a ground offensive in southern Rafah, the last Gazan region without troops, putting discussions on hold. As air attacks continue, one killed 9 individuals in a western Tel Al-Sultan residence on Friday night. Ahmed Barum lost his wife Rawan Radwan and 5-year-old daughter Allah. They attacked a house full of displaced people, women and children, he told Associated Press on Saturday, wailing as he held Allah, shrouded in a white shroud. This is a world without human values and morals. Israel's diplomatic partners and humanitarian organizations in Gaza have warned that a full-scale ground offensive in a town full of northern Gaza refugees would be deadly. President Joe Biden has warned Israel should not enter Rafah without solid measures to safeguard civilians, and G7 foreign ministers indicated Friday they opposed a full-scale military attack because it would be terrible for civilians sheltering there. For Hamas brigades are hidden there, according to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. After the October 7 cross-border attacks that murdered 1,200 Israelis and abducted 250 hostages, his government has pledged to destroy the group. In November, a temporary ceasefire released more than 100 hostages, but talks on another pause in combat and freeing more have stagnated. Qatar, a crucial mediator in Hamas-Israel talks, is reconsidering its position due to political exploitation, its Prime Minister, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, stated last week. Many criticize Qatar for allowing Hamas to establish a base in Doha a decade ago at the U.S.'s request. On Saturday, The Wall Street Journal reported that Hamas leadership is considering moving. Even as Gazan misery worsens, that would certainly derail discussions to stop conflict and free hostages. Shortages of housing, medication, and clean water threaten famine. After more than 6 months of fighting damaged houses and devastated Gaza's economy, almost everyone in the enclave relies on donated food. The UN estimates daily relief supplies must be half the minimum to save almost 2 million people. Israeli authorities, the U.S., and humanitarian organizations said assistance delivery should restore to pre-war levels of 500 truckloads per day. UN estimates showed 250 vehicles entered the enclave on Friday, the most in April. Biden was visibly upset as international pressure on Israel to send more food and other supplies into Gaza increased in March. After an Israeli missile strike on an Iranian diplomatic building in Damascus earlier this month started a perilous cycle of escalation with Iran, international attention shifted to defending Israel and preventing a war. In response to the bombings that killed 7 World Central Kitchen workers, Israel has delayed direct access to northern Gaza and a new procedure for the military to coordinate with humanitarian groups to protect their safety. Some trucks can enter northern Gaza through new gates, but the UN, which supplies most food aid, cannot. Sheep past Israeli settlers burnt automobiles in Al-Mughayr, West Bank. Nowhere is safe, fear and sadness in West Bank villages place Israeli settlers rampaged. Read more. In the occupied West Bank, an Israeli military raid on a refugee camp in Tulkarem on Friday night killed a kid and 3 militants. In a national strike on Saturday, residents stopped stores, restaurants, and government offices to protest the Nur Shams refugee camp attack, AP said. Israeli fire has killed over 460 Palestinians, including militants and civilians, in the West Bank since October 7, according to Palestinian health officials. In settlers' attacks and Israeli military attacks, some died, you read 9 items last year. Recent Israel-Gaza incidents have disturbed us all. This latest crisis is the start of a chapter that will touch millions of Middle Eastern and other lives for years. The Guardian provides 24/7 independent, fact-check news with reporters on the ground and others providing live blogs, films, podcasts, and photo essays. We understand that not everyone can afford news right now. Our journalism is open to everyone because of it. Keep reading for free if this is you. Can we count on your support in this dangerous time? Consider funding us today for these 3 reasons. 1. Our high-quality investigative journalism scrutinizes the rich and powerful as they get away with more. 2. Your money directly funds our reporting because we are independent and have no rich owner. 3. It costs little and takes less time than reading this letter. Consider monthly support for open, independent news. Thank you.